Listen to this episode if you started your business as a creative outlet and are now realizing that you need more strategy behind it than you think. This is something really common that I hear from my clients is they're a creative person. They are somebody that loves the creation of their product. They love the development of the product. They love coming up with new ideas for their brand. But the strategy side, the math side, the science side is not either their strong suit or what they really love to do. So today I want to talk about this idea of art versus science in business. Which one is more important? Do you need a mix of both? And what do people do when they do feel more creative than they do feel like a strategy science person? As business owners and entrepreneurs, we are people that like change. We're people that like to be able to be over here and over there and have all of these different thought processes going on at one time. I know I'm that way. I love the development of a product, but what it really comes down to is people either have a strong suit in art or science. Yes, some people can have both. They are the chosen ones, and they definitely have gotten a little bit more than the rest of us in that element of entrepreneurship, but most people have kind of an 80-20 in each. Some people are very heavily into strategy, into science, into numbers, into data, and some people are very into the branding and the creation and the design of the products, the actual innovation that is happening, the actual process kind of behind the visuals and the aesthetic of a brand. A lot of product-based business owners had an idea. Maybe it was your hobby, maybe it was something that you just started to do, and all of a sudden you started to realize it was something that you could sell. It was something that you were like, oh, I might as well sell these if I'm going to be making them all the time. I might as well make some money. And then that idea kind of turned into a bigger vision, a bigger vision, a bigger vision, and now you really want to make this as a brand. Maybe you are solving a problem in the industry. Maybe you feel like there is a white space that needs to be filled, or maybe there is just some creative hobby that you really want to be able to do all the time. It's your passion that you want to be able to do it full time as your business owner. Your dream of having this creative hobby, this art form be a big piece of your life kind of kept growing and growing. Now you want to make an income doing it. You want to be able to do it full time. You started to build this vision and you've realized it's not just about creating beautiful things and having people buy it. Unfortunately, against our will, we can't just have it be where we are creatively making product and people are just going to naturally buy it. You're realizing you need more of the strategy, the science, the data, the numbers in order to really make it flourish. You start to listen to my podcast, or you started to dive into other podcasts or books. All of a sudden, they start talking a little bit more in this strategy and science, and you're like, but wait, I just love the aesthetics. I can make really beautiful products. Can't I just put that out there and have people come? Honestly, I wish it was that easy, and it might have been in 2016, 2017 on social media before there were 100 million new businesses out there and everybody posting, trying to get seen on social media. It was a little bit easier. You probably could just be aesthetic and people would see, so you would see some results, but now aesthetics won't just get you everywhere. We do need a balance of both. I wish it was that easy to just wing it, put some creative stuff out there, post some beautiful things, and have people come flocking to it. For some, it can work like that. It really can. Sometimes you create something that is totally monumental. You create something that is really beautiful, super different, and a lot of people see it and they love it, but that isn't how it works for the masses. For the masses, you have to be very strategic behind it, but you do need a balance of this art or science, this creativity versus strategy, and what that really means. You've heard me talk about this before, kind of this balance of art versus science. I talk about it kind of frequently when I'm talking about this, because a lot of people really do have one or the other most of the time. When you have mostly art, like yes, 80% of people are visually motivated. So a lot of people are very visually motivated to beautiful things. So when you have that art side, when you've mastered the creativity, when you can crush some beautiful beautiful branding, yes, people are naturally going to be drawn to it. But if you have all art and no strategy, the sales process just isn't going to be there. The messaging just isn't going to be there. The scalability behind your business just isn't going to be able to reach the point that it actually makes sense. If you are all strategy and you know exactly what to post, you know exactly the intention behind everything you put out there, but you're lacking on the creative side, it's not going to stand out. It's not going to be unique. It's not going to have that visual motivation that people need. So if you are all the way one versus the other, there will always be something missing. As an entrepreneur, we have to learn how to balance this creativity and this art. We have to create really unique things and have the messaging that allows people to actually take action. The creativity and the art is what people are drawn to initially. It is what creates the branding. It's what creates your aesthetic. It's what creates your product a lot of times, as your product is something that is cool and unique. It's not just like what everybody else has out there. It's what creates your beautiful content. But if you don't have the strategy piece there, you just have a bunch of beautiful things without the actual science behind it to actually get people to take action. It's going to be a lot more labored to get people there. And then when you look on the strategy side, yes, if you know all of these strategies, you're like, okay, I know how to get there. People just aren't going to be drawn to it. You're going to miss kind of that obsess factor because people need visuals. And I think there was this big push for a while, especially on social media, that people want authentic. You don't want it to feel too curated. You don't want it to feel too, you don't want it to feel like too out of reach, out of touch. But at the end of the day, you can still be authentic, you can still be transparent, and you can still create connection and use the power of aesthetics. Aesthetics, time and time again, will motivate people to follow, will motivate people to say, oh, wow, this is the style that I have. Especially if you are creating a product that you have a specific style. If you have a product that is about home decor, if you have a product that is used in your outfits, if you have a product that is used in even skincare, candles, clothing, all of those things have an aesthetic that people in their mind allocate themselves to be attached to. And that is what you have to kind of attribute to in order to actually attract the right audience and actually have that magnetism that you are looking for. So yes, you can have a strong suit in one. You can have a strong suit in art and not strategy, which is what I would say the majority of you are probably nodding your head saying, yeah, Maddie, that is who I am. Of course, there are some of us, myself included. I am always been much more of a strategy gal than a creativity gal. When I started my business, I would have told you I'm not a creative person. I would have told you I'm not great at the visuals. My graphic design is a little embarrassing if you go back and look at it. I was not somebody that would have said I was a very creative individual. It was a muscle that I had to build and create because I realized it made such a difference in my brand. It made such a difference in who I called in how strong my brand really felt, and how professional my business really looked to a new person. It's good to know which one of these you are more adept at. It's good to know which one of these you naturally kind of connect to. Are you more of the creative person? Are you more of the creative person that is really great at coming up with new ideas and creating your product and creating the art or the product that you have, the aesthetics, taking the beautiful photos? Or are you the person that really loves to look at numbers and make spreadsheets and understand why people are doing this and that and really learning the sales psychology? If I were to say right now, we want to sit down and learn about sales psychology, are you really excited about that? Or you're like, Maddie, I literally just want to create? I think that question can answer a lot. However, if you really look and you are somebody that is more creative versus a business strategy, because I think that's where a lot of you guys are, is I think a lot of you are starting to see, okay, yes, I do just want to create. I really do. But in order for me to make this big passion, this creation, a long-standing part of my life, I have to be able to add this strategy in, because the strategy is what brings the sales. The strategy is what brings the scalability. The strategy is what allows people to go through systems and processes. It's a little bit more of the structure of everything that you're doing. with the structure, it allows you to be more creative. It allows you to be more flow. You just need to have the strategy so you can make the sales that allow you to actually create more often. You need to have this balance of them. So we look at this, and a lot of times there's so many examples in real life of people that have the art side really nailed. They have the design, they have the creation, they are that creative business owner, and they're calling in, or they have people that are either a part of their team or they have taken the time to learn the skill of how to add that strategy in. Look at fashion designers. A lot of fashion designers, they create the product, they sketch it out, and that is their zone of genius. Their zone of genius is the actual like designing of the fashion, and then they even have other people that make it for them, and then they just make little tweaks to the design. And they have somebody in the behind the scenes that's actually running the business. They have a business manager a lot of times because they realize their zone of genius is the creation. They didn't start a fashion design firm or fashion design agency, I guess, to be everything all at once. They realized they needed the strategy in order to get there. Look at artists. A lot of really big name artists, they have a business manager that comes in and says, okay, here's the art. Now let's add the proper messaging, the proper content, the proper like meaning, the storytelling behind this art in order to actually make it sell so the artist can sell. Look at app developers. They're really good in the software. They're really good in developing the apps and coming up with the problems and creating it, but they don't know how to market it. It's okay. There are people out there that know how to market. That's why a lot of apps have a social media management team, because they know that the person that developed that app, the person that came up with that idea and created it, was better at the actual creation, at the actual tech stuff than they're going to be able to connect to the ideal customer. It's different buckets in our brains. As business owners, we are people that are already doing so many things. Oh my gosh, you are accounting, you're marketing, you're selling, you're creating, you're shipping, you're packaging, you're organizing. We're doing so many things. You hear people say how many hats business owners wear all of the time. But as our business continues to grow, we have to understand that either A, we need to learn the skill and be able to understand it ourselves so we can be more proficient at it and actually make it happen. There's a reason we have to wear all those hats, because it is like, if you look at a big brand, look at your favorite brand, they have one individual person for everybody in their team. But as you right now in the business that you have, you either have to learn the skill or you have to have the resources, the support, the structure, and the strategy in order to kind of counteract your major creativity. Look at inventors. A lot of people, they have a business idea. They create, they kind of like mock up the product. And look at Shark Tank. Like a lot of those people, they are ideas people. They came up with an idea, they saw a problem, and they created the problem, they created the product, they created that solution, and now they're looking for their strategy person to be able to help them because they have that knowledge in order to go out and do that. They're looking to learn that strategy. A story that I really like that I heard on a podcast the other day was actually the founder of Netflix. The founder of Netflix did not start as like a streaming company. They kind of started like Redbox, where they would send you a movie, and they sent you movies. It was kind of like you could have the movie for as long as possible, and then you would send the DVD back. He had the idea. He was the founder. He was running the company for a really long time, and he hired somebody on just like as a part of his team. And that person that he hired sat him down one day and said, hey, I don't think that you should be CEO and running this company anymore. I think I am actually more fit as CEO than you, the founder. Like, you are great at these other skills, but I actually understand how to run a business. And the founder said it was one of the best conversations, and it was one of the best decisions that he ever made, was to actually listen to him as opposed to be offended by hearing that. Because your girl would be probably offended if somebody said that to me. But he wasn't the founder. He realized he wasn't the business owner. He wasn't the strategist. He wasn't that CEO that the business needed in order to scale it to the right spot. And so he let this friend, this other teammate, come on as CEO, and that was when they were able to adapt into the Netflix that we know today. Sometimes as business owners, we have to realize what our strengths are. Yes, we want to play into our strengths, but we need this balance of art versus science. So what am I saying is I'm saying that if you are a creative, you're somebody that is so good at the ideas, you are leaning more into the art side of business. I want you to think about the science, the strategy, the structure that you have, not as like that annoying thing on the back burner that you have to really look at. It is the piece that missing piece that is actually going to allow you to be the artist, to be the creative more often. We have to accept both of these. When I sat down and looked at my profile and literally never wanted to send anybody my profile when I started my business because I hated the graphic design, I could never create the visuals that I wanted, it held me back in business. It held me back a lot because I knew that there was actually something missing that I just couldn't grasp. I didn't have this art versus science. I had to really go all in on learning what it takes in order to create an aesthetic, in order to create a visual, and how I could do it on my own when I didn't have the money to hire a brand strategist or to hire somebody to create graphics for me. And now, because it was a muscle, the art side for me was the muscle that I had to learn, and then I had to have people. I was like, hey, what are your thoughts behind this? I would ask people all the time. I would get their opinions and say, how can I do this? Hey, you're really good at creating the aesthetic. What is it that you see when you see my profile? How can I do this? And I tried to really adapt my skills because I knew that I needed the art and the science. I could explain it to people. I could teach people the strategy behind branding, but I couldn't bring the vision into reality. If that is where you're feeling, but on the opposite side, you're like, Maddie, I can create the vision. I have no problem creating the beautiful brand, the beautiful photos, the products that are unique and really awesome. I have a problem with really being able to look at somebody's profile and understand what it takes. You either have to learn that skill or get somebody that is there to be able to support you through that process. Add people into your life that really makes sense. And it's something that a lot of my clients that are in my live programs, which is my programs that you have one-on-one access to me, I have a lot of my clients say that was one of the most important things. They're one of their favorite pieces of being a part of a program was because all of a sudden they had me as the strategy to that creative. They second guessed themselves all the time. They would put content calendars together, but they didn't really know. They were just winging it and putting it out there. But once they learned the strategy and had my approval and my support and my feedback that I give them inside of these live programs, they were able to actually learn the skill and have the support in order to have somebody in their pocket. And I hear it all the time that once they're done in my live programs, they're like, Maddie, I just wish I could have you forever to just bounce ideas off of, because they need that strategy to that creative. And it's something that until you have kind of that balance, you do feel that something is missing. Like right now, do you feel like strategy is missing, or do you feel like the art and the beauty and the design, the aesthetic is missing in your business? There needs to be a balance, because again, one without the other is always going to be missing something in a strategic standpoint. You're either going to be missing the magnetism, or you're going to be missing the action in what people are doing. And if we get deeper into it, kind of from a strategy standpoint, there are 4 different types of buyers. 2 of them are emotional and 2 of them are logical. And so if you're only selling to them with some aesthetics, you're probably getting 1, maybe 2 of the emotional buyers, but you're not going to get any of the logical buyers in there. But if you are all strategy and you're all logic and you're talking about the features, you're talking about all the benefits of your products, you're probably going to get some logical buyers, but you're missing out on a lot of sales out there. And with all of them, there needs to be a balance of both. So at the end of the day, after this whole episode, I want you to really think, which one of these do you feel very called to, and how are you going to extend into either gaining somebody that has that strategy, gaining that skill in order to add that skill into your art, or have somebody that you can have in your back pocket to ask questions to and gain support, gain structure, get feedback, and that of somebody that actually really understands. I think as business owners, we all are looking for people to just talk to our business about, or to, I guess, because we're all sitting here in our own brain, kind of just racking up all of these ideas. I know I'm this way, is I have so many business ideas and I really don't talk about them ever because it's just me, myself, and I trying to execute all of these things. And so it's so helpful when you have that one person in your life, or you have a couple people in your life that really understand. You can talk to your mom, you can talk to your partner, you can talk to your best friend that aren't business owners. And sometimes they aren't that strategy. They don't know, they can't put all of those pieces together. So sometimes when you find that one friend, that one person that can come into your life and really meet you where you're at, see where you're going, and actually bring it with the strategy approach or bring it with that art approach, it can really fill those gaps for you. You don't have to be absolutely everything for your business. I know right now you might not have the cash flow to have somebody that is full-time in, like, on your team being able to strategize or do social media management for you, but having something like that, having somebody in your corner, or having the skill at least in your own brain right now to fill that gap until that time gets there, allows you to be more creative. Why? Is because it takes that off of the plate. It makes things convert better, as well as when you're not over-analyzing your marketing, when you're not over-analyzing, is this post actually going to work? What do I want to talk about? When you just know what to do, it actually saves you time, and it allows you to actually just be more creative because it puts a structure behind all of the science and the strategy that you're supposed to do. It says, post these 3 types of content a week, make sure that you're hitting on these pieces, make sure you're structuring these different things, you use this messaging, and go from there. So with all of that to say, there's a balance to all of this. I want you to kind of think about, are you more art? Are you more science? Where do you feel like your strengths are? And where, going into 2025, can you really add levels of the opposite one? Where can you build into your art? Where can you build into your strategy in either a person in your life or a skill that you have to learn in the meantime? If you are looking for support, if you are looking to have me in your world kind of as that strategy person to your creative going into the new year, to audit, to give you feedback, I do have some of my live program launching after the new year. Make sure that you reach out at This Is Madison page. You can DM me support and we'll find which one works the best for you, either product to profit or the product sales expansion, depending on your level of business. I would love to be that strategy person to your creative. Then you can learn the strategy, implement the strategy yourself, and have me to gain feedback, give you some detailed information and insight, and bring some structure to your big ideas through the implementation. If that's something that interests you, come on over to Instagram at This Is Madison page and you can reach out to me there. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this was helpful. I love this conversation. I do have another episode that talks strictly about art versus science and business, and we kind of go into more research and details on this. If you want to search that, you can listen to that. It was recorded a little while ago, so I wanted to give you kind of an updated thought process behind all of this. But I hope it was helpful. I hope it was kind of insightful, and maybe you opened up the door to, oh my gosh, yes, I am a creative person. Or maybe you are saying, honestly, I am more strategy. You just don't know what to build in your business. I think some of my clients come to me, they're great with spreadsheets. They just want the framework. They just don't know those frameworks. And once you learn them, and then they can add in some of that art as well. Some of them need to kind of add both of it. So kind of just really having an awareness of who you are, what are your strengths, and what are the gaps that you need to fill in order to really make it happen. Because we do need art, we do need creativity, we do need aesthetics in our business, but we do also need to understand what it takes to actually activate customers, run a business, and get people to take action. 2 very different things. Both of them are absolutely necessary. And as business owners, we have the absolute luxury of needing to learn and adapt, and either to learn the skill or have somebody in our corner to help us with our weaknesses. I hope you have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions. I love you. I'm rooting for you, and I'm in your corner always. I'll talk with you soon. I'll see you in the next episode.